to start with some poetry. I'd like to introduce to you Nicki Cassimatis. Nicki is an experienced language pastoral care teacher and our current postgraduate student of mental health practice in UQ. Nicki describes herself as an accidental poet, instinctively turning to writing poetry to heal the pain and chaos of depression, anxiety and midlife burnout. Nicki will perform 3 pieces for us this morning. Thank you, Nicki.
Good morning. I'll put my timer on so we don't run further behind time.
There we go.
Oops. Okay. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with, for me, it was time to write a poem. I won't go into all the details of the background of how I ended up in poetry, but if you are interested, you're welcome in having a look at my TED Talk, which goes into some detail of the experience in all its gruesome and glorious glory that put me on the path that I'm currently on. I'll begin with the cake shop. What selection will you make, sir, from our cakes here on display, with a nice hot cup of coffee, brewed today, for nerves that fray? There's one here we call duty done, another called relax. The third you see, called overtime, is laid, yum, in stacks. Here to your left, approving boss is finger-licking good. And further on, your colleagues praise, such scrumptious, scrumptious food. Right in between, cake number 6 is family time. Oh yes. And 7th, right before your eyes, this friendship beats the rest. Cake 8 is ecstasy of love. For this you'd surely die. It's one of those you simply love that leaves you on a high. There is a 9th, it's holidays, a celebration cake, colourful, festive, made for you to take a well-earned break. Not finished yet. Financial gain. 1 slice remains, that's all. This yardstick that measures success for each one's curtain call. Oh, mercy me, how shall I choose? Such treats all tempting me. Decision made. I'll taste them all. And please, a pot of tea. Oh, I'm afraid, sir, not so wise. You will feel sick for sure. A moderate morsel will appease and leave you room for more. May I suggest Petitia's choice? This one you'll not forget. Its name is Balance, just 1 taste. I promise, no regrets. Letter to Anxiety. Dear Anxiety, I'm going to beat you with a stick whenever I feel you from now on rearing your ugly, ugly head. I'm no longer interested in your lies and distortions about my self-worth, about my strength, about my potential, about my habits, about my values. I'm no longer interested in your unfriendly reminders about my weaknesses, about my procrastination, about my stress levels, and about all those I will let down because of what I haven't finished, what I haven't yet accomplished. I'm not interested because your scales are not the scales of justice. They are not the scales of mercy. They are not the scales of hope. They are not the scales of love, and they most definitely are not the scales of peace. Keep your lies to yourself and be banished from this planet forever. We have enough to worry about without your help. Thank you very much. Yours, no longer. And this last one inspired by a tiny little green caterpillar that walked over my lintel one day. It's called When the Rubber Hits the Road. Little caterpillar, how did you get inside my house near the front door? Were you carried in on a juicy leaf by one of the many summer blooms that are regularly brought in from the garden to breathe colour and life back into my kitchen and heart? Or did you drag your teeny body across the ground, up the lintel and onto the hardwood floors in the hope that you might find what you were looking for? These thoughts barely over, and without thinking it through, I flicked you outside with my big toe, my knee calling the shots, so that you might find your way back to your real home, along the concrete, because caterpillars don't belong inside. What caught me by surprise, I must confess, was your instantaneous response to my unceremonious attempt to oust you. Not fight, not flight, not freeze, but awe-inspiring survival of the fittest, and dare I say cleverest. You turned yourself into a teeny little green tyre and rolled safely to where the momentum of my foot carried you. No little green tyre anywhere in sight. Back indoors, I'm truly awestruck. It's taken till lunchtime today, drowning in my own world, to float my smile to the surface. Teeny little green tyre, thank you. You have reminded me of those simple inflatable pool rings we had and revelled in as kids, eons ago now, before we learnt to properly swim. Little caterpillar, are you trying to teach me something today? Was that why you came? Thank you.